Hi guys, so today we are going to start drawing our animal. So we are going to be doing it on a very large piece of paper. So I want you to practice in your sketchbook. So you need to have taped down your image or glued down, your image into your sketchbook and make sure that there's some white space on the edges because we're going to be looking at shapes within this image and drawing reference lines. So first I want to begin to look at some shapes I see. So an obvious one I see is the eyeball. I have a circle, so I'm going to kind of draw on the eyeball. This head and beak is pretty circular or oval, or like an oval. So I'm going to just draw a big oval right here. And your pencil might be light, so you may not be able to see anything, but that's okay. And then this neck chunk, I'm kind of seeing a triangle from here to here to here. So I'm gonna kind of make a triangular shape. It's not a perfect triangle. And then I have the wing, which itself is an oval. So I'm just drawing an oval. And then the body again is another oval. And then the wing is just the sliver of an oval. If I want to break down this head into smaller shapes, I could say that this third or half of the oval is the beak. And then I have half or third of the oval as the white face. So, but I'm going to focus on the shapes first. So I got some of my shapes down. What you want to do is in your sketchbook, draw a similar size box to your image. And within that box, I want you to begin to sketch some of those shapes. So I have my big oval for the head. I have my triangle for the neck. I have my tall oval on the side. I have another oval right here for the body and that little sliver of the wing. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of mapping out where everything is using shapes. Then I want to double check some of those measurements I have. So I'm going to go over to this image. I want to find out how far of a distance the beak is to this edge of the border. So I'm going to draw a line from the furthest edge of the beak straight up. So now I have this reference line. That reference line tells me how far away the beak is from this edge of the paper. So it's very small. So I'm going to draw a similar size reference line to double check. So as I can see, my oval is just a little short, so I'm going to pull my oval out a little further so it touches that reference line. So that's my vertical reference line for the beak. Then I want to find out where this tip of the beak ends. So I'm going to draw a line straight over from the tip of the beak. Now I'm looking at how much space this is. So I have probably almost halfway down the page. If I move my hand down here, it's a little less than halfway. So I'm gonna split my page in half here and go a little bit above it to recreate right there. So as you can see, now I have two reference lines that mimic the same distance on either side. So now I know that my beak is going to come down to a point right around here. So I'm going to keep drawing reference lines. Maybe I want to see the top of the head, how far away that is from the top of the paper. So again, that's a very small amount. So I'm going to draw my reference line, and I pretty much have the head where it needs to be. Then I'm gonna maybe check where this wing, where the neck and the wing connect, and draw a line straight up and see how much space that is. Oops, sorry. So I have this much space from the neck to the wing. So I'm gonna draw a similar size gap. And again, I did pretty good there. But what it should do is you should begin to see if your measurements are lining up correctly. So I have to have a vertical and a horizontal line to pinpoint exactly where that shoulder and neck meet. So I'm gonna draw a line straight over from where the shoulder and neck meet this way and compare the distance here. So for example, I made my wing a little too high over here. So I'm gonna drop that wing down, and then I know I have more space for this neck to curve up to here. So I'm still drawing some reference lines. I'm gonna see where this wing starts. So now I can use my other reference lines. I can see the distance between the beak and this wing and draw a similar distance here. So I know this wing starts right about there, and then I need to draw a reference line this way down because I have to have horizontal and vertical. And I'll draw the same distance right about here. So my wing is starting a little more over here and curving down. So now I can begin to kind of define those shapes I'm seeing. Now I can begin to maybe go in and say, hey, I'm gonna start defining this beak. Also, when I'm drawing, I wanna look at negative space. So I'm gonna look at this little shape of negative space between the two beaks and try and recreate that negative shape. So I'm trying to recreate that kind of shield. It looks like a shield almost. And then I have that. I remember that half of my oval was the beak, or a third of my oval was the beak. I may need to bring my beak up a little higher. A little further up. So I'm just sketching really lightly. I'm not worrying about making everything perfect. I'm just kind of drawing. Now I'm drawing in the shapes of the colors that I'm seeing. So I'm not drawing every feather or anything. I'm just drawing some of these smaller shapes I'm seeing. I'm going to try and find where the eyeball is. So I'm going to draw a reference line up on either side of my eyeball. I'm going to look at this distance between this edge of the beak and this eyeball, recreate that distance, recreate that thickness right there. So I know my eyeball is somewhere up and down here, but I need to draw a line over to know how high it is on the page. So I'm looking at this distance and recreating that distance and drawing that line all the way over here. and drawing that same distance all the way over here. So as you can see, I drew my color a little bit lower. So the eyeball is right about here. So I need to draw my color a little higher up. And then maybe extend the face a little bit. My face is looking a little smushed. So I can try not to erase your reference lines, just try to erase some of those mistakes. And you just keep on sketching until you have your basic image of your animal. And once you get to this point, you're ready to transfer to your project paper. So we'll talk about that next.